Good morning, everyone. I am Nancy Ortinau with Cooking with Nancy O, excuse me. My husband's not here right now because the disgruntled cleanup crew, the two puppies, needed to go outside. So when he comes back in, he'll be joining us. We are really excited to share another recipe with you today. We love pepper jelly. We were put onto pepper jelly I bet 30 years ago by a dear friend who had me taste it one time. And I was like amazed at the quality of pepper jelly. So we are growing peppers on our towers, of course. And you can see all of these peppers we've grown. So we can grow green peppers. Well, I call them wonder peppers because they turn green, yellow, orange, whatever color, depending on how long you leave them on the tower. We also have habaneros. Now, Rick, he's coming in now from the dogs. He made the mistake of tasting one, just a little bitty piece, and I think his eyeballs are still watering here, and that was about 15 minutes ago.
We're good now.
Oh, we're good now. Okay. We have our jalapeno peppers, and then, of course, you always need banana peppers because they're a little sweeter, and you can put them in all kinds of fun things like your salads and on sandwiches. Well, you do that with all the peppers if you can handle the heat, honestly, right, Rick?
Yep.
So our pepper jelly recipe, I want to talk about it a little bit. It is a freezer recipe, and it is not this here. I'm going to just read it so you understand. This is meant for the refrigerator freezer because the acidity has not been tested for safe canning. So if you're afraid of canning, that's why I picked this recipe. It makes it a lot easier to be able to cook and freeze like we did last week with our tomato sauce. Also, jalapenos. I did not know this about the jalapenos, but when I started reading up on them, that they vary in heat. Obviously, the habanero is going to be the hottest. Well, I don't know if it's the hottest out on the market, but yeah, they're pretty warm. And then the smoother the color, the more mild. If they have striations in them, then they're going to be a hotter pepper. So that was really cool to know that. Now, when you're cutting the peppers, we put gloves on our hands because one year I made this and I did not put gloves in anything you touch. If you rub your eye, you touch anywhere in your body and you're going to be burning. So put some gloves on before you do the peppers. If you leave the seeds in, it's going to be hotter. So it's your choice. Leave seeds in, take them out. We made one batch already, and we have 2 jars sitting here on the counter. We left these 2 jars here. We have to periodically stir them because the peppers float to the top. So you'll see us kind of playing with these 2 jars. We're going to keep stirring them. We have 4 more on the counter that we're keeping an eye on because we pre-made this. So this recipe has to cool before you can even put the lid on and put it in the freezer. Okay, so we are going to start out with, one more thing. It will keep in the refrigerator for 3 days, up to 3 weeks, and in the freezer up to a year. I'm sorry. So this is what I like. When the fall of the year comes around and you make these, make an abundance of them because everywhere you go for the holidays, you can put this on celery. You can put it, we pour it on cream cheese and just serve it as a spread on crackers, which we'll show all that to you later. Rick, are you ready to get started here?
Yep.
So what we did is we're using a food processor, and we took our peppers, and you can use any color pepper you want. We chose bright colors just because we like the colors. So we're going to put this in the food processor. I need the lid, please. I'm going to let him pulse it. Go ahead, and we're going to pulse it till it's nice and fine like this jar here. Yeah. See, and you just do little pulses until you don't have a lot of big chunks in there. I know it's hard to tell sometimes. Okay, that looks good. So I'm going to, he is throwing things around, and that is not a good sign. That's usually my job. He's usually the nice, tidy one, and I'm the messy one. Right? Okay. So I'm going to add this to the bowl because it's easier to do small batches, only because you don't want this to get all like liquefied and running. So I'm going to give that back to you. And now we are going to add our jalapenos. So we have them pre-cut. our first batch, the reason Rick tasted a habanero was we wanted a little more heat after the first batch. So we added 1 jalapeno to this recipe.
One's habanero.
Or habanero, sorry. Sorry. How's it going?
Good.
Okay, so we have that all pulsed. You're still coughing.
No, that's the.
Okay, we're gonna take this, and what I'm doing is adding this to a nice sturdy saucepan here so we can cook this. And we're gonna add some apple cider. Oh,
That's
yeah.
the jalapenos.
Yeah, you can almost inhale the heat from these guys. So now we're going to add our apple cider vinegar. We're gonna add 2 cups of this to here. And the next thing is we are adding sugar. This is why I got started in, here, Rick, you take this while I talk. The reason I got started making my own jams and jellies is so I can make a lower sugar one. Yeah, go ahead and add that. You can take it to the stove. Yes, he is going to start cooking this over just until it boils, like a rolling boil. And so the reason I got started on making my own jellies was because I wanted to cut back on the sugars. I was really trying to not put so much sugar in my body, but we all know that if you're raised with toast and jelly growing up, sometimes it's hard to kick that. So I started making these type of things, but this recipe tastes really good on celery, guys. And so you don't have to eat it on crackers. If you throw it over cream cheese and you use a lower fat cream cheese, you just spread that inside the celery. I mean, you're ready to go here. So now he's going to bring this to a boil, and then we're going to add this is a low or no sugar pectin. We buy in bulk, but you can also buy it in individual boxes to where you can just open it and put it in, and it's ready to go. But we do a lot of jelly making now on all various kinds, and we share it with a lot of people. So make sure when you're doing this recipe, it's low sugar. It's not meant for canning. It's meant to go in the freezer because of the acidity, and you will be good to go. Okay, Rick, I'm going to hand this to you. So when you're ready, you have to get that to a big boil. So when that gets to a boil, he's going to add that pectin in there, but he's going to use a whisk and cook it for about a minute. And then it will be ready to go. How's it going? Yeah, it's going to take a minute. It takes about 10 minutes to cook this. So while he's doing that, I'm going to kind of slide things around here because we made this recipe to put on cream cheese. Did you say the one on the right side, Rick?
Yes.
So I'm going to kind of stir this. You can see how it's starting to gel. And it's still a little runny, but as it's cooling, we are stirring the peppers. And then once it's 100% cool, it will get even thicker. So what I'm going to do here, so we can sample it, is just pour a little bit. See how, and then when it's thicker, because this one is still warm, we just made it this morning. As it's cooling, it'll thicken, but you take this to a party. I just put it in a pretty bowl, surround it with crackers. If you want, you can soften that cream cheese and shape it into a pumpkin, a ball, and put a pretzel out of it, or a Christmas tree and cover it. And then you can have a pretty little design there. So I'm going to take this over to Rick. Hopefully his tape. See, normally it would be thicker on here. So let's do this. Since it's not quite set yet, I'm going to add a little extra for you, babe.
That's always good.
Okay. So this is a new recipe because we usually can our recipes. And he's licking his fingers. Good?
Yeah.
Good to see.
Good.
Okay. So when we sampled this earlier, we wanted a little bit more heat. So Rick kind of added that habanero to it to see if we can have a little more heat. We have some family members that really like a lot of heat. And just make sure you label those jars with the heat. So I'm going to try this. Are you ready back there yet? I want them to see how the pectin goes in. So our family, when we made this last year, we ran out. So they've been asking, when are you gonna make it? Mm. Oh,
It's good.
I really like this recipe. And it's gonna be really super easy for you guys to do. I taste a little bit of heat, so those of you who don't like a lot of heat, this is a great one. And then if you want it hotter, add extra to it. So when we grow these peppers on the tower, they grow about this size, and you get bundles of them. So you can even cut them, and you can add the stuff to it and wrap them in bacon and cook them on the grill or in the oven. So they are really good. We got red ones. The habaneros, the way to tell the difference is you will notice that the habaneros look different. These are nice and smooth, and these are rough. So that's how we tell the difference on the two, because you would never want to get those mixed up. Okay, how's our progress going back there? I think it looks good. So we're going to take a picture of that pot over there, and he's going to slowly add that pectin in. And I whisked it when I did it earlier, and then he's going to cook that for about a minute, and then it'll be ready to go. You can just then ladle it into your jars, freezer jars. Let's talk about the freezer jars. See how smooth this jar is? It's just nice and smooth, so you don't want any nooks and crannies in there like regular canning jars. So we just bought regular jelly jars, and we buy the small ones because we find that one small one, when you want to go to a party, this is plenty to take to put over your cream cheese, and that way you don't have jars open in your refrigerator for a long time. So that is how you make pepper jelly. I'm very, very curious to see if you guys are going to try this. I have 2 great recipes lined up for next week, and I'm going to have to choose between the 2, but it's either going to be salsa, because we're going to be coming into our tail end of tomatoes, but I also have a healthy pumpkin chili recipe. So I think we're going to go salsa and then pumpkin chili the week after. So if you guys have a really delicious fall recipe you want me to demo, let us know, because we would love to do that. Oh boy, those peppers are, you can feel it in your throat from the peppers while they're cooking. Anyway, we have a fabulous recipe going here. I hope you try it. Reach out to me if you want to copy it. I know that people are really starting to want my recipes, and I've been sending them. And I can send them through Messenger on Facebook or whatever you want, or email. Just holler, let us know. Rick, you got anything to say? He has nothing to say.
Nope.
Nope.
It's
man,
good.
man of
It's
little
good,
words.
yeah.
Okay, guys, until next week. We will see you next week. See you later. Bye. Rick, this batch is really good. I really like it.
Yeah, this one,
This one was-
curious to see with the
Yeah, here.
habanero. I mean,
I can't wait to get a jar over to Chris, because he's been dying for some.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Look at that.
a lot of them like it because it's not super hot.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. You ready for another one? I love force feeding you.
Yeah.
There you go.